Now let's return to the Nigeria Premier Football League and talk about what's happening on the local front as the Kano State Government has dissolved the interim management board of Kano Pillars Football Club. Now this is just hours after unveiling the new technical advisor, talking about the former Sporting Lagos coach, Paul Offor. The decision was announced in a press release signed by the Commissioner of the Ministry of Youth and Sports and Development, Honorable Mustapha Rabiu Kwankwaso, on Friday. Now, the government expressed its gratitude to the outgoing interim management board for their hard work, resilience, and dedication to the development of Kano Pillars Football Club. The statement also wished them well in their future endeavors. The commissioner directed the outgoing interim management board to hand over all necessary documents to the most senior civil servants in the office, effective immediately. Now, we've got Dari Kuti, who is joining us, a sports reporter for ACL Sports, and of course he will give us more light on exactly what's happening. Thank you for joining us, Dari.
Thank you very much, and it's a pleasure to be on the show this morning.
Thank you. Now, Paul Offor, the former coach of Sporting Lagos, where he led the team, and at some point in the MPFL last season, that is the 2023-2024 season, he got fired by the club, and a lot of people talked about it, saying he was not meant to be let go of by Sporting Lagos. Now, they eventually got relegated, and as good tidings will have it, he got employed as a manager at Kano Pillars Football Club. And just hours later, we hear the huge reports coming out from Kano saying that the board has been dissolved, meaning that his appointment as coach of Kano Pillars is null and void.
Yes, thank you very much. We should all know that in this country where we are, government are the owner of sporting clubs or sporting associations in the country. And according to my findings in Kano State, the management of Kano Pillars did not consider what the ministry were saying. And that's where the loggerhead came out. The ministry, which is a representative of government, told the management of Kano Pillars that they do not want Paul Offor. There are other coaches lined up, but the management, who in their wisdom, who thinks that they want to do the right thing by employing Paul Offor, and they eventually signed him. But according to sources also, he was not properly unveiled. And this also led to the commissioner for sports being angry, and they decided to fire the interim board and told them to dismiss themselves and submit all relevant documents.
Right. I need to understand this, because I've seen club sides outside the shores of Africa, when they sign a player or a coach, I mean, there's a huge unveiling that is being done by the club, even on social media, because up till now, there was nothing on Kano Pillars saying that they've signed Paul Offor as manager of the club. Now, I need to understand, were the management and authorities of Kano Pillars, were they supposed to report to the Ministry of Sports and Youth that, look, we're about to sign a coach, and give him or her the name of who the coach will be?
Yeah, we should know that Africa is a very peculiar place. Who is funding Kano Pillars? That's the question we should ask. Who is giving Kano Pillars their monthly subvention? It's government, and the government passes through the Federal Ministry of Youth and Sports. Like we always say, government and sports, they are two inseparable entities, and that was what played out in Kano State. The Ministry of Youth and Sports, who are the representative of the government, informed the management that, look, we don't want you to employ Offor behind the scene. But because, like I said earlier, the management thought that they could do things outside the government coffers, and that's why they got fired. And we should not forget also that nearly about 80% of all the clubs in Nigeria are being funded by government. You must do what the government says you should do. When you look at the likes of Rivers United, look at the likes of Kwara United, look at the likes of Wiki Tourist, look at the likes of Enugu Rangers, Atlant, they are all funded and supported by government. And he who pays the piper dictates the tone. And that's what happened in the case of Kano Pillars. Government told the ministry, we don't want this guy, and they should have they should have actually followed the directive of the Ministry of Youth and Sport, but they did not, and these are the consequences. And that's why most of us are clamoring for government to hands off sports, so that we can have people or persons who can manage sporting activities and football properly.
Right. I've got my colleague right here in the studio, Okpelu Adebari. He also has a question for you.
Yeah, Dari, first of all, once again, thank you for joining us this morning. In your own opinion, I mean, aside from the fact that, there seems to be a bit of an issue between the management and the Ministry of Sports, well, if we're just talking about Paul Offor himself, would you say that him taking this job was, should I say, 10 steps ahead for him, maybe 10 steps too much ahead, considering the fact that, even before Sporting Lagos, he was coaching outside of Nigeria in the Tanzania League, if I'm not mistaken, and then he had like a topsy-turvy time with Sporting Lagos. Do you think this job would have been way above him?
Well, personally, and when I actually spoke to some of my friends, and they told me Kano Pillars is a bigger club than Paul Offor. Yes, Paul Offor was able to manage Sporting Lagos, but don't forget, Sporting Lagos is a private-owned club. Kano Pillars is a government-owned club, and one of the traditional teams in Nigeria. And there are some teams, they have their own philosophy. Will Paul Offor be able to follow the philosophy of the club? I don't think he'll be able to meet up to standard. All respect to Paul Offor. Paul Offor is a very, very good manager, but I don't think he'll be able to operate properly in a setting of Kano Pillars as is. I don't think he will be able to last for half of the season if he had been left to handle the job.
Right. Is there any updates from Kano Pillars now on a way forward? Because yes, they've dissolved the interim government. That's the management of Kano Pillars. So what is the way forward with Kano Pillars Football Club?
As we have a presence who are already lobbying, and a coach will be announced very, very soon. But a government, by the time there are vacancies everywhere, persons, politicians, and the rest are actually going to lobby. And just yesterday, journalists in Kano State appealed to the government to give sports technocrats, not just anybody, sports technocrats, tested and trusted individuals who have the love of the game at heart, not persons who go and put their in-law to be in charge of the team manager, or persons who carry somebody from their village to come and be on the payroll of a government. So they are soliciting for government through the Ministry of Youth and Sport to employ a technocrat, a seasoned sport administrator who can handle Kano Pillars. And I can tell you for free, we have a lot of Kano indigenes and Northerners who are competent. And I hope government listen to the plea of sports journalists and sport enthusiasts by employing persons who have credible and a long-term experience in the game of football.
Now, talking about Nigerian football in general now, and the league, most especially the Nigeria Premier Football League, now, conversations has been had over time saying, look, we need to do better on making our league look very attractive, because we keep talking about Nigeria Premier Football League being one of the best in the world. And it begs the question, how has this league really proven itself quality enough to be tagged as the best in the world? Now, let's talk about some of the ways that we can make this league more attractive to people beyond Nigeria, because we get to see a lot of beautiful goals, but these goals are not even selected as the best goals from across leagues from Africa and beyond.
Well, one of the ways we can make our league very, very attractive, or the first thing we need to do if you want our league to move forward is, one, government, they have to hand their hands off sport and football in Nigeria. Government, they are playing a huge role, because, government can say, okay, I don't want to make some instances because I have to be very, very careful. We all know what happens, how persons lobby for positions and dare to become administrators. But when private persons are in charge, they'll be able to manage their finances too. the league organizers, they need to take media very, very seriously. In the year 2024, you'll be surprised that most clubs, they don't have a YouTube channel. Most clubs, they don't have a personal highlight of their teams. Most clubs, they don't have documentations of their players. They have to rely on, let's say, freelance to do the job for them. Yeah. So we need to have a proper bank of information for players if we want to take the league to the next level. And also, we must put up persons who have integrity to head the leagues. I'm not saying those in charge are not doing well, but we all know external factors. They accuse there's some that, okay, this is affiliated to that. We need to pick up neutral persons. We have a lot of young guys out there who can do this job, but the elders we have, they still want to hold on to power. And I don't know, when you go outside the country, you see young guys being in charge of the league, and it has been tested in Lagos with teams like Ikorodu United, Sporting Lagos, and the rest. So we need, like I said earlier, we need government to hands off the league and give it to the people to bankroll the league.
All right, we'll look forward to more of these conversations, and hopefully our league will get better when the new season kicks off, because we've heard a lot about TV rights. We're going to get to see this game streaming online and all of that, but I just hope that we can get our acts together, starting off from a precise date when the league will start, then also following up from there, because I'm sure these are the things that would also help our clubs become marketable and probably do well on the continent, if you agree.
Yeah, yes, I do. Look at the English Premier League, look at the La Liga. Dates are announced immediately after the season ends. But in Nigeria, I learned that we are going to resume 15th. But before you know it, due to, let's say, sponsors, the hula baloo, and the rest, it will face a postponement. So we hope those in charge will be able to set up a template. And we should also consider those who are going to play in the African League, such as the CAF Confederations Cup and the CAF Champions League. We need to be in season when this team attends the CAF Champions League and Confederations League, because when teams only play pre-season, they don't have much playing time. But if our league actually during this CAF Champions League, it will also help some of our teams play well. Look at the European leagues. During their competition or during their various league, that's when the CAF, that's when the UEFA League, the UEFA Champions League and the Europa League goes on. But in Nigeria, the case is different. Some teams, they'll still be in camp, or during the pre-season, that's when this will be going on. So we are sports lovers and football lovers are appealing to the league management committee to set up a template. Let's start with a 5-year template and see how this works out. And you'll be shocked that sponsors will start rolling over and they're coming to support our league. I can tell you for free, we have some of the best players in the world. That's why you see Nigerians going to the Benin League, they go to the Ethiopian League, they go to the Sudanese League, they go to the Moroccan League, and they play well. But here in Nigeria, well, we just continue to, we are a manufacturing team, country, and we export, and our players go out there to play good football for other leagues out there.
All right, well, I would say thank you very much, Derek Kuti, for joining us today, and I will continue this conversation offline, and hopefully one day, sometime soon, our league will get better. Thank you for joining us.
It's a pleasure to be on the show.